Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. I've got a 3-card PSA reveal here. This was submitted at the value level, $50 a card I believe. So we're going to go through it. 3-card PSA reveal. First card up, we had this 2025 Topps Chrome Cooper Flag Yellow Refractor. Then I'm getting a PSA 8. These are numbered out of 275. Doing this reveal on the computer because I actually am sending all 3 cards to the PSA vault. They're not personally coming back to me, so I wouldn't be able to make a video in person, but this PSA 8 is going to the PSA vault. A couple reasons why I did that. One, there were so few cards that, to me, it didn't make sense to only send potentially at most 3 cards back to me, and then depending on if I accepted PSA offers or not, could have been less than that. I don't want to ship just 1 or 2 cards back to me. And then 2, I also had been experimenting with and thinking that maybe they grade PSA vault cards easier, because if you sell via PSA through eBay, I believe PSA gets some of that revenue that is created by the sales fee. So I thought maybe they'd want to grade the cards easier. I don't know, just kind of a little conspiracy theory I came up with. As you'll see in this order, that seems to not be true, although it is a small sample size. We got PSA 8 on that Ball of Duty, and we also got a PSA 8 on this All Aces Ohtani. Centering on the back, a little bit off, but you get 75-25. So, to me, if they wanted to be picky, they could drop it down a grade via this. But then the edges on the back, it's just also kind of hard to judge, because you can see here, it won't let me zoom in, but see how it looks like it gets a little pointy on these corners here. I don't know if that's something that they are also pickier on. But yeah, PSA 8 on that Ohtani, and then I had another Ohtani, and this one did get a PSA 9. You can see the centering on the back on this one looks a little better. Left isn't quite as thick as the other one, but still off center. So I think that the off centering had to do with it. But yeah, those were the 3 cards. Really not a great reveal at all. 0% gem rate. Granted, it is 3 cards, so it's an extremely small sample size. Can't really make too many conclusions from it. But they're just cards I wanted to get graded. So if we go ahead and look at the numbers, this is actually, the first PSA submission that I am expecting to lose money on. Granted, it's not, that much, only down $300. I've had PSA submissions where I've made $2,000-$3,000 on them. So losing $300 isn't that bad, especially when you don't get any 10s. If one of those All Aces Ohtani had 10, I'd be in the money. So you can't really judge it based off only 3 cards, but I'm going to run through the numbers with you guys just to go over this order overall. So you can see grading costs $169.96, so that was the $50 per card, and then it costs approximately $20 to get those cards shipped off to the PSA vault. So you're looking at, closer, was that like a $57 cost per card or something? We'll just call it 170 divided by 3. Yeah, close to 57. So yeah, this Ball of Duty yellow flag I purchased for $165. No clue what it's really worth. My guesstimate's like $120 in the PSA 8, so I expect to only get about $100 out of it. PSA did not offer me anything. And then the 2 All Aces, I was buying in that $325 range. So this one here I just called $325. This one $330 because I had 2 purchases that were about a $5 difference. And you can see the 8 I'm valuing at about $285, and the 9 I'm valuing at approximately $410, which comes out to net values of $242 and $348. Those net values, I say this every video, you can see up here I am multiplying my C3 sell by 0.85 or 85%. Typically, if I sell on eBay, I get about 85% of the sale. That's accounting for eBay fees and promotional fees. It just makes it easier for me. A clean 85% is a good rough average to base my numbers around. So this is not net profit. I've had people comment before saying, "Oh, your net value isn't your net profit." I know it's not the net profit. I've never said it's net profit. The reason I do this is so that I can look at my PSA offers and say, okay, if my PSA offers 300 and my net value is 250, that's a very strong PSA offer. I'm going to want to take that PSA offer. Just because if the card was valued at 400 and I get a PSA offer of 350, I don't want to think, oh, well, the PSA offer is coming in $50 below recent sales. Well, if I sold that $40 card on $400 card on eBay for $400, I'm going to get less than that $350. So that PSA offer is actually a good offer still. So I'm using this net value to compare to the PSA offer. And then obviously, you know, in the grand scheme of things, that does go into my total profit for the whole order, where I'll run through those numbers to explain how I get there as well. But that's what my net value is, and that's why to me it is important to calculate my net value. So you can see the total net value on this submission is actually less than the purchase price, which you know, it's a bit unfortunate. You can see here, based off the card values, my grading effectively added no value to these cards in totality, which is expected when you don't get a singular 10. So that's okay. It was only 3 cards. Like I said, if one of the aces pulled a PSA 10, I would be much better off. I would be in the green, and it would be perfect. But this card plus shipping cost is crucial into going into the total cost. So you've got to account for what you bought the cards for, how much it costs to ship off the PSA, and how much PSA charged you. That's all going to be your cost. So that's what goes into here. And you see this $1,014 right here. That's what those 3 costs build into. And then that's where I go in, and for this is more of my projected profit. It's not a true profit because I haven't sold the cards yet. But that's where I go in and I say, okay, I'm going to take my net value and I am going to subtract off my total cost. That's what you see here, E8 minus G9. And this spreadsheet will be linked down below in the description, not for these exact cards, but just a general overall template if you're interested. So go ahead and check that out if you're interested. And that's how I get to my total profit. So if this card here had been a 10, so 9s were 410. If it had been a 10 and it's a $1,000 card, you can see, you know, it didn't turn green because I don't have it set up to do that. But you can see that my profit would now be in the money, you know, close to $180. Whereas right now I'm, you know, in the parentheses means negative, down 322. So negative 31% ROI. Like I said, not terrible. If you've seen a couple of my previous videos, I've had some super massive sales from previous grading orders that completely make up for this. So I'm okay with that. Obviously 0% gem rate. 1 9, 2 8s. I would prefer to get 2 9s and 1 8. You know, my goal is 9s and 10s. 8s I do not like because 8s are really hard to sell. 9s you can at least usually get close to your money back, you know, after fees for what you bought the card, and that's what you're going to see here with this all aces 9. You can see that I'm expecting to get about what I paid for the card back and just be out the grading fees, whereas 8s are going to sell for less than raw because an 8 means that there is something that is pretty obviously wrong with the card that I should have seen. So yeah, at the end of the day, it's not the end of the world. Not my best reveal ever. Actually, probably my worst one ever. But that's okay. You know, I've had, you know, really good success recently. We're going to keep pushing, keep sending cards in for grading. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, be sure to like and subscribe. Comment down below what you think of this submission. You know, obviously I didn't do well, but have you guys had similar experiences, especially when sending in, you know, only a couple cards at a time? It doesn't give you guys as much, you know, room for play, right? If one card isn't good, well, there goes half your order. Whereas in a 20-card submission, if I get a couple PSA 8s, oh well, I still have 18 other cards that could get 10s. So that's just my final thoughts there. eBay store will be linked in the description as well as a spreadsheet. As always, thank you guys for watching. 2K for life. Peace.